I'll go finish snapshot. Yeah, and today I'm going to do more Premier League predictions. I'm sure I'm going to get absolutely roasted with some of these predictions, but I'm going to just my opinion. So feel free to let me know yours in the comments. But this is purely just my prediction. So first, I think most people will have a Man City. I think Man City are definitely going to win this year. You've got Haaland coming in. Yeah, he hasn't had the best pre-season, but it's still Haaland. The chance he's going to get. Alvarez, they signed him last season. He was on loan at River Plate and absolutely smashed it. Scored against Liverpool, I believe, at the weekend in the Community Shield as well. Calvin Phillips, another big signing in the midfield. Partner him up next to Rodri. It's almost like another with Fernandinho moving out, so another what a good player to bring in. Grealish, yeah, he didn't have the season that people expected last season, but I think he'll push on this year. I think he'll have a lot better season this year, hopefully, especially with Sterling now leaving. That's the main one, Sterling leaving and heading to Chelsea, which frees up space on that wing. And Jesus has obviously left, but they've replaced him with a new number 9, Haaland. So I think they'll win the league. I think it'll be a bit. I think it'll be more comfortable for them than it was last season. Second, this is where I'm going to get roasted. Second, I am going to go Tottenham. Now, I just think their business with Basuma in midfield, another player in there, like it's a good player, a very good player in midfield. You've got Jed Spence as cover for right back. They've got so many options on that wing back, and we know how Conte plays with them 3 centre backs and wing backs. I think Jed Spence is a really good fit. Whether he starts at the start of the season, we don't know, because you've got Doherty as well. Who else is there? Doherty, Tanganga, maybe he could play as that right hand side centre back. You've also got the signing of Perisic. Perisic, another brilliant signing. Could play that left wing back or that left wing, depending on what formation they want to play. Obviously, Conte's worked with him at Inter before. He's ageing, but he's still a really high quality player. Obviously, they've got a new backup goalkeeper in Fraser Forster. I mean, Lloris is obviously the starter there, and he will be as he's the captain. But Forster's not a bad backup to have. Richarlison, another big signing up top, 60 million. Yeah, I guess you could say they overpaid a bit, but he scores goals. He's got that fire in the team. He'll work defenders. So up there with Kane, if they play 2 up top, then, or they could put him out on the right, Son on the left, Kane in the middle, Richarlison on the right. You just don't know. There's the amount of options they have now is unbelievable. And they've also got Longley on loan from Barcelona, another good centre back. A lot of Spurs weaknesses are at centre backs. Romero had a good season, I thought. There's a good quality centre back, starts for Argentina as well. Eric Dyer does a job, but some love him, some hate him. So third place, I think after that is obvious. Third place definitely going Liverpool. I think second and third is going to be very tight between these two. Obviously Liverpool, they've lost Sadio Mane, he's gone to Bayern Munich, but they have got a good replacement in Diaz. He took the league by storm last year, and I think he's going to do even better this year. Unbelievable player, unbelievable skill. He's dribbling second to none. Link-up play is brilliant. He's just a perfect Liverpool winger. Perfect replacement in my eyes. Darwin Núñez coming in as well. Brilliant signing. There is always that question on how long will it take these players like Haaland or Núñez to adjust, but I think give them a few weeks and I think they'll be laughing. They've both got decent starts to the season as well, so I think give them a few games and I think they'll be firing them in for fun. And with Liverpool's front three, you know they're going to score goals regardless of who it is. The only thing with Núñez is there is competition. They have got Jota who can play in that centre forward or full star, and they have got Firmino. So there is no guarantee he starts, although I think he will, but it isn't a 100% guarantee. Midfield for Liverpool is ageing a bit now, but they have signed Fabio Carvalho from Fulham. They signed him last season, I think it was, and he stayed on loan there for the rest of the season, but Klopp's already said that he has no intention of loaning him out. He wants to keep him. He's part of his plans for the first team squad. So hopefully we get to see him. Another young player, like bags of potential, and I think he'll thrive under Klopp. Liverpool have already got the first piece of silverware of the season as well. They beat Man City 3-1 at the weekend, just gone, in the Community Shield. So that's that for them. Our fourth, I'm going to put Chelsea. Put Chelsea in fourth. They're always there or thereabouts, aren't they? And they always seem to get Champions League football. Obviously, with that sanction that they were put under, it's been difficult for them. So they've lost Rudiger, Christensen, I believe, as well, and potential Azpilicueta, their captain, potentially going to Barcelona. Although I'm not 100% sure what's happening with that one at the time of recording. They've bought in Sterling, 40 million, I believe. Absolute brilliant transfer. It's a brilliant guaranteed games. The defence, I don't know how he's going to play, if he's going to go back four or back three. But obviously with them, it's been a bit difficult for them with losing their players. As the time of recording this, it is looking very likely that Cucurella from Brighton will be going to Chelsea. Had an absolutely fantastic season at Brighton last season. Manchester City wanted him. He wanted to move. He put the transfer request in, but Man City said they're not raising their price from 40 million, whereas Chelsea have said they'll match the 50 million fee that Brighton want for him. So in the next few days we'll find out if that happens. It's another option. Obviously Chilwell, brilliant left back. From the minutes he played brilliant. His stats are amazing, but he did suffer with injury, so it would be another backup left back. The big one for Chelsea is Lukaku. He didn't light up the league like everyone expected him to. He openly come out and said he wanted to go back to Inter. So obviously this season he's gone on a loan. From what I understand, there is no option to buy, but obviously Lukaku isn't there this season. And they are happy to talks of Werner going out on loan as well. So there must be trust in playing that false nine, whether it's Havertz, Mount, Sterling. They must seem happy with that. Fifth place, I'm going to go for Arsenal. I think Arsenal just miss out again. I just think this top four, I think it's just going to be a little bit too much for them. Arsenal, they've had an absolutely brilliant pre-season under Arteta. Start of last season, they looked shaky. They were in the relegation zone and it wasn't looking great for them. But they certainly turned it around and they played some brilliant football. And then even on the games where they didn't play brilliant football, they managed to grind out the results. And just ended up missing out on that top four spot, and just missing out on Champions League football. However, the pre-season has been brilliant. They've brought in players like Zinchenko, a brilliant left back. Gabriel Jesus is an absolute brilliant signing. Both of these from Manchester City, who have worked under Arteta before as he was Pep's assistant manager. I think they'll thrive this year. I think they'll do really well. I just don't think that they'll get the top four. Sixth place, I'm going to go Man United. United, they've got Ten Hag in. First season with Ten Hag, he's had a full pre-season with them. They've brought in players like Malacia at left back. They've brought in Lisandro Martinez at centre back. How he'll get on, we're not sure. 5'9" centre back in the Prem. He's got bags of potential, but we'll have to see. I think one of the biggest ones that they've brought in is Eriksen on a free transfer. He had a brilliant 6 months with Brentford last season. Kept Brentford up, helped them stay up. He changed that team. Looked so much more confident and comfortable when he was playing. And obviously after everything that's happened, I think it's brilliant for Eriksen to see him back playing. With United, that midfield, is he going to start every game? We don't know. Obviously there's a 5 sub rule this year as well, which we've got to bear in mind in the Prem, so a lot can happen, but I do think Eriksen's probably the biggest signing. Now the only trouble is Ronaldo said he wants the move. He doesn't want to be at Manchester United anymore, and that's a big thing. He doesn't want to be there, and yes, he's a professional and he's like probably one of the best athletes in the world, but if he doesn't want to be there, he doesn't want to. Obviously Man United and Ten Hag want him, but there's still no guarantee before the window closes he is still a Manchester United player, so that's something massive. And I think if he leaves, they're going to struggle, even though Rashford's been playing well in pre-season. Sancho's been playing well in pre-season. Martial's done all right in pre-season. It's just I'm just not sure how that one's going to work out. And obviously, it's a big season for Ten Hag. He needs to improve because they're on a decline, United, and they've been on it for a while now. They need to get themselves back up, but whether it'll happen this season, I don't think it will. So that's 6. In 7th, I'm going to go... Seventh, I think Leicester. I think Leicester this season, they've got no European football this season, and that's a big thing for Leicester. They've been playing in different European competitions, whether it's been Europa League, Conference League, and with the squad size that they have, they've ultimately been playing 2 separate squads, one for Europe and one in the league. But with no European football this year, I think bringing them 2 together, I think they'll be able to thrive on it, especially with this 5-sub rule. Obviously, Vardy is getting on a bit, so there's always that about it. But they have got Patson Daka, who I don't think he'll be the same, but he can score goals. There is interest at the minute in Maddison. I think Newcastle have had a bid rejected for 40 million. Brendan Rodgers said he's not for sale, but we know how football is. And Newcastle have put in a second bid. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that one. The big one for me is they've not signed anyone. Maddison's got interest, and Schmeichel is looking like he's leaving, going to Nice in France, which is a big one. It's their captain, their goalkeeper, who's been outstanding for them. He's been with them for years in the Championship and in the Premier League. He was there when they won the league. It's a massive, massive one. So who they will get in to replace him, I do not know. So 8th, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Newcastle. I think Newcastle will. We all know they've got the money. They spent it well last season, I thought. Apart from the Chris Wood signing, yeah, he's a Premier League striker. I think they paid a bit too much for him, me personally. But Eddie Howe's had a full pre-season with them. Bruno in that midfield was brilliant last season. Maybe overperformed slightly. But we'll have to see how he gets on this season. They've brought in Nick Pope in goal from Burnley, who've obviously got relegated last season. And Nick Pope is an absolutely outstanding keeper. I've seen him many times live on the pitch, and he's just absolutely outstanding. That's a brilliant signing. The signing of Sven Botman, a promising young centre-back from Lille. Brilliant signing again, just solidifying that back line. They've got Matt Targett from Aston Villa on a permanent basis now. He played well the second half of the season. So I was and ahhing with a top half, but I think they'll scrape 8th this season. So in 9th, I'm gonna go West Ham. Now West Ham, they've not done much business. They've signed a player called Aguerd. I don't know too much about him, if I'm honest. They've got Areola on a permanent basis, which isn't bad. Whether he'll take over and be their number 1 permanently, I'm not sure. Obviously, Mark Noble has retired, which is big for West Ham. He didn't play every game, but he was the club captain, and he was always there, Mr. West Ham himself, and he was always there and put a performance and got the lads going. Now, Declan Rice is a brilliant player. He captains well, but will he be able to have the same effect? We'll have to see. They've signed a new striker in Skamaka as well. Be interesting to see how he gets on. It's not long been complete, so I don't know how he's got on in pre-season or anything, but it'll be an interesting one for West Ham. They did well in Europe last year, but we'll have to see what happens. 10th place, I'm going to go my club, Aston Villa. I think we had a poor season last season. I think that's easy to say. Finishing 14th, very poor. Obviously, Gerrard getting appointed in November, I believe it was. Went through a bit of a honeymoon phase, but we played well. And that last game of the season at the Etihad, up 2-0 and losing 3-2, that one hurt. But there is, like you can tell by the way the owners are speaking, there's a rebuild in progress. With Villa, their business, I think it's been brilliant. Obviously, getting Coutinho on a permanent basis, I think, is brilliant. Didn't perform as well as a lot of Villa fans expected, but he isn't the same player he was when he left Liverpool, and he did have a ligament injury at Barcelona. So you never, like with those sort of injuries, then you may never come back the same player anyway. Boubacar Kamara is a CDM or a midfielder on a free transfer. Brilliant bit of business. There was a lot of big clubs in for him, and he's came to Villa, which is massive. Diego Carlos at the back, another a brilliant signing. European, he's won the Europa League with Sevilla. European experience. I think it'd be a brilliant signing. Looked really good in pre-season. Captaincy's changed. Tyrone Mings is no longer the captain anymore. They have announced John McGinn to be captain, with Emi Martinez in goal being the vice captain. It's a big call, but hopefully it's one that works out. A player that I think will be what's the word? Will look good this season will be Callum Chambers. It was a brilliant bit of business in January last year. Completely under the radar, no one expected it, but when he played well for us last season. I could see him being a starting centre-back this year, potentially. We've had an unbeaten pre-season. I think the toughest one we drew 2-2 United. That was our toughest game in pre-season. Leon Bailey has looked brilliant in pre-season. Last season he didn't quite get to the heights that everyone expected. A couple of injuries set him back, but I think he'll come back a better player this year. And with the 4-sub rule, we've got players like Cameron Archer, who's had a brilliant pre-season, did well with Preston in the last 6 months last year. So I think we'll do well. 10th, I think a lot of Villa fans are expecting a lot more, but I think 10th is I think it's progress, and I think it's reasonable. 11th, I'm going to put Leeds 11th. Now they have lost Phillips and Rafinha, which is massive. Probably their two best players, without a doubt. But they have all their youngsters signing new deals, like Gelhardt, Sam Greenwood, Somerville, I think his name is, all signed new deals. Jesse Marsh has been able to get in his players, so he signed Aronson, Sinisterra, Tyler Adams, Rocker from Bayern Munich. There's been lots of different players trying to strengthen the squad, and I do believe he'll do a lot better. Obviously, it was a rough end to the season for Leeds last year, but hopefully they can bounce back this year, and I think they'll finish 11th. 12th, I'm going to go Brighton. Obviously, I think they overperformed last year. I think they have done for a while. Graham Potter has worked wonders with them. Absolute brilliant. When he first got appointed, I had them to go down because I thought Chris Hughton was a good manager, and I didn't expect Graham Potter to do as well as he did. So I will give him credit for that. They have lost Basuma, and as it stands, Cucurella is leaving as well, which is a big blow for them. If they can keep Tariq Lamptey fit on that right side, I think he will do wonders. He's a really good young right back, wing back, can get up and down the pitch, does his job well. He's a really good player. And they have got Undav back. I think they signed him last season, but he was on loan. He's back, and he had an outstanding season last season, so hopefully he can start up top and start bagging some goals for him. 13th, I want to go Wolves. Now, Wolves have not done much business. They've lost Romain Saiss, who could play in that centre-back or that left wing-back role. Fabio Silva, the young striker, has gone out on loan to Anderlecht. They've got Adama Traore back on loan. Whether he'll stay or not, I haven't heard anything on that. Hwang Yi-chan on a permanent deal, that's done. Nathan Collins coming in at centre-back, so will he partner Connor Cody? But they do like to play a back three, so Max Kilman had a brilliant season. Hopefully he can continue. But I think all in all, the 13th place finishes where they're going to go. 14th, I'm going to go for Crystal Palace. Vieira had a really good season last season. Played some proper attractive football, got the players he had working well together. Butland, the keeper, has broken his hand pre-season. He said that it doesn't require surgery, so hopefully he'll be playing again soon. There's Chris Richards as a defender. And then obviously they have the players like Zaha, Elise, Eze. They can all create something out of nothing. Got a bit of flair about them, technically gifted players. And I think I'm excited to watch and see how they get on this season. They can do the same as last season. I think they'll be happy. 15th, I'm going to go for Everton. Everton, they had an absolutely shocker last season. Lampard managed to save them in the end. However, this time he's starting to do a little bit of a rebuild now. So they've signed James Tarkowski on a free from Burnley. A brilliant signing because their backline was a lot of their mistakes last season. Dwight McNeil, another good signing on the wing. Idrissa Gana Gueye used to be at Everton before, then moved to PSG, and it's looking like he's coming back on loan. So that another holding midfielder in the midfield, which is going to be a good for him. I've got Ruben Vinagre from Wolves on loan. I think it's from Wolves, anyway. Wolves or Sporting on loan. Obviously, they have lost Richarlison, who was sold to Spurs for 60 million. But that 60 million has been invested well, I think. Anthony Gordon, Lampard loves him, and to be fair, I can see why. He had a lot of fight about him, and he just proper went for it last season. Hopefully, he can just improve. Obviously, they have got Dele Alli for a full season. They've got a pre-season with him. I think they'll do better than last season. I think they'll come 15th. 16th, I'm going to have Southampton. Southampton, they've been close to the relegation a few times now, but this season they've invested a lot of theirs into young players, which I do like. I like they've a few players from Man City's under 23s and stuff, and just young players, which is good. Which they obviously feel comfortable that they'll be able to stay up, and I would do too. I think 16th, but I think they'll be okay. I don't think it'll be 10th for them. And they have got Joe Aribo from Rangers, brilliant signing in midfield. So you're probably looking at Romeu, Aribo, and James Ward-Prowse. Obviously, James Ward-Prowse, if you get a dead ball, there's a good chance that you're going to score for Southampton, whether it be a corner or a free kick. They could potentially struggle, but I think they'll survive just in 16th. Now, 17th, I'm going to put Nottingham Forest. They haven't been in this league for a long time. They got promoted through the playoffs. Steve Cooper did an absolutely amazing job with them. They won in the playoff final, beating Huddersfield. With Forest, they've got Dean Henderson in goal on loan. Brilliant signing, I think. Like Breeze Sambu was like a hero for him in the playoffs, but it's a signing that needed doing. Dean Henderson in the Prem, it's a brilliant signing. I hope he does well there because he's not getting a sniffing at Man United. There's a new striker. Players like they've got Mangala, Niakate, who's a brilliant signing at centre back. Omar Richards, O'Brien, and Toffolo from Huddersfield, who they beat in the final. It's brilliant. Wayne Hennessy as a backup goalkeeper, and I think the big one. The difference why keeping them up is Jesse Lingard on a 1-year contract. I think he'll work wonders in that midfield. We saw what he did at West Ham. He didn't do much for United. They wanted to keep him for a season, but he didn't really get his chance. I think his time. He knew his time at United was over, and he signed a 1-year contract with Nottingham Forest. And I think Forest fans should be very excited by that. I think he's going to have a brilliant season with them, and I think he'll be the reason they stay up. And then 18th, I'm going to go Brentford. With Brentford, I think they've got good opening fixtures, so they need to get points early. Other than that, they've got Ben Mee at centre back, which is a good signing. Strakosha as a backup goal. Well, is he going to be a backup to Raya? Raya had a good season until he got injured. We just don't know. They've lost Eriksen though. And Eriksen was the creativity in that midfield. And I think they're trying to replace him with Damsgaard, who we saw was brilliant at the Euros that just happened last year. It was brilliant for Denmark, and I do think if it happens, it'll be a brilliant signing. I just don't think it's going to be the same calibre as Eriksen. And I just think they're going to struggle this year. I think it'll be tough between Forest and Brentford and maybe Southampton, but I just don't see them doing it. 19th, I'm going Fulham. They've lost Fabio Carvalho. He's a big player. They have got Harry Wilson. He does play. He's brilliant in the Championship, along with Mitrovic, who set the record for goals last year. But they do it every year. They come up and they just can't seem to score the goals in the Prem. They just struggle. And I think this year, I think it's just going to be the same this year. They have got players in Andreas Pereira from Man United. It's a good soul in midfield, a bit of creativity, and Babu at right back. It's a European football experience player. Solomon from Shakhtar. It's another good player. I just don't think they have enough to survive. And last place, Bournemouth. I think a lot of people are putting Bournemouth last. They've not done enough transfer window activity, and what they have done hasn't been great. The pre-season hasn't been good. A lot of their players, new players that have come in, are injured. I just don't think either. I think even in the interviews they've said, because they play Villa, we go to Bournemouth as our first game of the season. And the manager said that the squad they've got now, because of the transfer window activity and injuries, is weaker than the side they got promoted with. They finished second last year behind Fulham. I just don't see them surviving. So obviously that is mine. I'll review it at the end, and I'm sure that at the end of the season I'll be kicking myself saying, why on earth did I do that? But I've got Man City first. The other Champions League places, I've got Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea. Then 5th, Arsenal. 6th, Man United. 7th, Leicester. 8th, Newcastle. 9th, West Ham. 10th, Aston Villa. 11th, Leeds. 12th, Brighton. 13th, Wolves. 14th, Palace. 15th, Everton. 16th, Southampton. 17th, Forest. Brentford in 18th. Fulham in 19th. And Bournemouth in 20th. So they are my predictions. I'm prepared to get absolutely roasted in the comments, but let me know what your predictions are, anything you agree on, disagree on. But anyway, it's my Premier League, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.